Broadcasting across the country and around the world, from Sin City in Las Vegas, Nevada, join Moose and PowerSerg as we prove that age is truly just a number and the best life is yet to come. Grab a seat, pour yourself a drink, and dare to live on 50 Shades of Great. Welcome back to another episode, 50 Shades of Great. I'm your host, Moose, with my co-host and executive producer, PowerSerg.
What's going on there, Moose?
Hey, back here, Vegas Content Studio, it's the place to be. And it's nice to be back in here. I know that, I got a couple DMs over the course of time about the audio and some stuff going remote. And like, Serge has used this in the past is, we're on this journey with you. I mean, we created this literally because we were looking for a podcast to listen to about, like, how do I get my permission slip to live my best life? Where do I learn who to turn to, where to go, what to talk about?
We see a lot of that for whatever reason, right? All the podcasts that were sort of aimed at men were either in the red pill community, right, which talk about the manosphere and all that stuff, or they were aimed at just physical fitness.
Right.
Right. And so, because I think that natively, right, but there were a lot of podcasts aimed at women. Right. But
there's a lot of women's self-help, women, how to deal with stress, how to deal with, divorce, dealing with their narcissistic or misogynistic or whatever.
Complaining about the men in their lives. Right. But what I was sort of missing is something that spoke to me. Right. There are podcasts. I mean, we had Mike Sartain on the show. Right. He's got his own podcast aimed at men, but everything seems to be geared toward younger men. Right. Which, by the way, is important. Right. As you're developing who you are as a person, it's important for you to hone that. Right. And iron sharpens iron. So it's important for you to understand who you are as a man. But the needs of a 25-year-old guy are different than the needs of a 50-year-old man.
I think that the 25-year-old can get things out of the show and look forward, but the focus really needs to be, and we will continue to make it be, for that demographic, 45 and up, is going through, or for, 40s, we'll just say, approaching 50. How about that? Because there's a lot of things that I couldn't have. It's kind of like when you're growing up and, your dad will always tell you something and he doesn't, he's the stupidest guy alive until you get to that age and you go, oh my God, he was the smartest man alive. It's that
it really
understanding and how to do the transition and things that are different, the dating world, the divorce, the living. And so, one of the things I kind of want to talk about today is you and I both made a very big life decision. And we come from very diverse backgrounds. You're going in the single, I'm still in the relationship. You're more of the party. I'm more of the, public face at work and then more reclusive away from work. Yet we both decided to move to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah. And so this show, right, might not be for everyone, because I think that there is a group of men who are just at 50, they're settled, they're happy, they're grounded, they're
settled and unhappy, but they just don't want to.
They just want to do anything, right? So for me, moving to Vegas was a step of rebooting my life, right? I was living in LA. My son was living in LA. Like I was getting divorced from my second wife, right? So I've gone through 2 divorces, and the divorce was positive, right? It wasn't nasty. It was positive, but I just felt like I needed a change. I needed to reboot my life. And so I thought to myself, and I can work anywhere. So I thought to myself, where am I the happiest? Because remember, this was 2020 for me. This was 2020. We were coming off COVID. I had just turned 50, right? And I took a risk for my 50th birthday, right? It was September of 2020, and I took a risk. We went to Mexico. I went there with my second wife, because I said that if I spend my 50th birthday sitting on the balcony like I did the entire year while we were there, I was going to jump off that balcony. Yeah. And there, when in Mexico while turning 50, I'm like, I need a reboot. And
Control-Alt-Delete.
And me and my ex-wife are still very good friends. I just saw her last week when I was in LA, and we had a nice time, right? And even at the end of our relationship, we were friends. And so when we were together, it was great. We had good chemistry. And
divorce can be healthy.
It can be. And ultimately for us, the reason we got divorced is that we wanted different things out of life. These weren't questions of not loving each other or not wanting to spend time together, but just having different goals and different focuses. And for me, I wanted a reboot. So I said, now that I'm 50, right? I'm looking at the next stage of my life. And it really felt like that to me. And this is why the show was created this way, right? What do I want to do to help me reboot my life? And I will say moving to a different city, a special city like Las Vegas, was exactly what I needed. Because Vegas is different than other cities. It's not that other cities don't have clubs. They do. Mm-hmm. LA has great club scene. It's not that other places don't have restaurants or hotels. LA has all of that.
Right.
Right. It has amazing craft cocktail scene. It has lots of beautiful women. It has lots of nightlife. Like you will never be bored if you're in LA. But the difference is in LA, it's stretched over 2 hours of driving. And in Vegas, everything I just described, the best restaurants, the best bars, the best hotels, the best pool parties, the best nightclubs. And there's not one nightclub. There's not two nightclubs. There's a nightclub in every hotel, right? All of that is within 10 city blocks. So Vegas is like any other city, right? But it is condensed. It's like a good sauce, right? You take a bunch of ingredients, and when you reduce them down and turn them into a sauce, it's much more intense. And Vegas is like that for cities.
Well, people's reason for coming to Vegas, it varies. It's all over the board, right? There's a whole spectrum of it.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the other great thing about the city. And that's what kind of drew me. And number one, you're 40 minutes from Lake Mead. Mm. We moved into Lake Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. The reason I like Lake Las Vegas is I'm a $25 Uber to the Strip if I want to go drinking and do that part of Vegas. Mm-hmm. Or I can walk down in the village of Lake Las Vegas and keep to myself, walk through the pub, go to the speakeasy, do something in that. But there's that diversity. And when we talk about like Los Angeles, I grew up in San Diego. There's also a lot to do in San Diego. A lot of people. Every city has its thing. The one unique thing about Las Vegas and why I would recommend anybody who's going to make the change is not only does it have everything like that, but it has everything like that being catered to. Mm-hmm. Everything here is being catered to. So no matter where you're at, even if you're just coming to visit, let's say you're not moving and you're planning a vacation, coming to Vegas, people talk to me now that I've been living here all the time is, hey, I'm gonna come to Vegas, but I don't want the cigarette smoke. I don't want the casino. Okay, well then go to Hilton Vacations property. Go to the Marriott Vacations property.
Or we actually have a non-smoking casino, which is it's MGM. What's that MGM casino? Park MGM.
Park Place.
Yeah, Park MGM is a non-smoking casino. The thing about it, Vegas is great for that because of
the diversity of it. And with diversity, not just in the type of people, but diversity in the lifestyle.
Anything. There's nothing. Anybody who is alive and enjoys life
will find something to enjoy.
To enjoy. We have sports. We have scuba diving. We have skydiving, and everything is world class. We have skiing, right? Mount Charleston is up here. Excellent ski, great ski
helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon.
Helicopter ride, anything you want. You want extreme sports, they're there. You want sports, right? We now have professional sports teams. Anything you want in Vegas is there, and it's all condensed together, and it's all focused on that. Like gaming, for example. I actually used to play a lot more poker when I was in LA than I do now. In now there's a lack of poker.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, I agree.
But people say like, oh, I come to Vegas because I like to gamble. Well, you know what? You can gamble lots of places. Southern California has lots of places for you to go gamble, right? If you don't enjoy
Hawaiian Gardens,
everywhere, right? You can go out into all of the Indian casino.
Yeah, Pachanga,
right? And by the way, it's not that far, and it's spectacular, right? It's spectacular. So there's lots of places that have everything that Vegas has. It's condensed. And the other thing too, that Vegas, there is a feel to the city and an energy where it just feels like you're on vacation.
It is.
For me, right? And I'm a local now, and I've been here now for I moved in here full time in March of 2021. So, about 3 years. So I feel like I'm local. And people say, oh, well, because you're local, don't you hate the Strip? No.
Right.
When I lived in Southern California, and I used to come to Vegas a lot, and it was my happy place. I used to take an Uber to the airport. I would jump on a Southwest flight, which was an hour and a half, I would then go land at the airport, walk through the airport, take an Uber, go to my hotel, spend the weekend at my hotel doing whatever I wanted to do. Back then, it used to be the Cosmo. Then it became Caesars, right? Both excellent properties. And then on Sunday or on Monday, I would take an Uber back to the hotel, to the airport. I would take another Southwest flight, and I would take an Uber back to my house. And then that weekend was amazing because I just stayed at my hotel or on the Strip and just had fun. Do whatever I wanted to do. Date, play, party, pools, everything you want to do. I do the exact same thing now, but instead of $600 in Ubers and flights,
Walk outside.
bucks. No. For me, it's $1.50 in gas.
Right.
That's it, right? It's the exact same experience. So I go to the Strip a lot. A lot of locals don't like it. It's busy. You got to know what to do. And then as a local, I've also now sort of started to dial in where I know a lot of the promoters for the clubs. So I get a lot of tables. I get a lot of comps. I know a lot of bartenders. So it's always nice when you
what
walk
I've
in
found
and you're
is,
friendly.
well, once you become like if you have a Clark County ID, is you get a discount just about everywhere.
You do.
Because they want to draw you in. But you have the ability, just focusing kind of back to why is Vegas the spot to go? Like back in the day, it had this negative connotation of either, you're a degenerate gambler or you're just a drunk. There is seriously museums, aquariums, world class.
Well, I mean, let's face it. We don't have the Met. We have the museums we have here is the
It's the dialed down version.
It's the mob museum and the erotic sex museum. So look, it's not like the high end museum, but they're museums. But
right.
They're legit.
But what I'm trying to say though is it has the ability to, like when they created New York, people kind of got that New York feel. People who could never afford to go to New York or understand or get a feel for the culture. Then inside they brought in the type of food and the type of the restaurants and the way that they did. Paris. Looking at the Venetian, you can go on a gondola it's
really cool. It does open up the world. It's fun. It's great. And Vegas has this unique thing. And by the way, it's not just Vegas. Like I travel quite a bit, and I will tell you, every place you go, you can have a great time in. I was in Cleveland, Ohio recently. I was shocked at how nice the waterfront is. Mm-hmm. I was shocked at their craft cocktail scene. I dated a girl who lived in the Midwest. She lived in Lawrence, Kansas. And I will tell you, and I'm a craft cocktail fanatic, right? This is what I live for. I live for making cocktails and I live for drinking and finding interesting cocktails. Top 3 bars in the world for craft cocktail. Number 1 is in Japan for me, right? Number 2 is in LA. And number 3, top 3 in the world, and I've been to thousands of places, Lawrence, Kansas. It's called John Brown's Underground. And by the way, John Brown's Underground, if anybody's around Kansas, it is a place you should not miss. It's just amazing. They do a new cocktail menu every quarter, and each drink then is illustrated by a local artist. It's just...
Well, we're going to have a show about travel. We are. Kind of reel this back into Vegas.
Oh, no, this is what I was going to say. But the point I was going to make. So there's lots of places that have fun, and every place has its own. But what's really great, Vegas is one of those places where you can have a great time for $50 a day or $500 a day.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah. And now we'll tell you, is the $500 a day better? I mean, it's bougier, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not 10 times better.
No.
Right? So yeah, if you only have $50, Vegas is the place to do it. And living here, cost of living is less, right? So if you're looking for a place where you want to reboot your life, right? If you're looking for a place where you want to enjoy some of nightclubs, you want to date more, stuff like that, Vegas will make it convenient and easy, right? It's hard to build a social circle in some place where there's 700 people.
And that's the other side of it is in Vegas, in this concentrated area, like just like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Or, they have the lead singer, Five Finger Death Punch out there. I saw him, down in the Village one day. But Vegas has this condensed ability to diversify your social circle and really grow. And the concepts and what's brought into Vegas because of all the money that's behind it. I mean, look at the NFL just started paying attention. Major League Baseball just started paying
It's
attention.
coming.
Now we have a football. Well, I'm not going to claim it as our football team. I can't do that. I can't. I know. Last week, Darren Carter was talking about the, you wear a Raider jersey, or it might have been you, wear a Raider jersey. You can't wear a Raider jersey. Yeah, you know what? I will never stop talking smack on the Raiders. But as a Charger fan, I am the king of disappointment. Yes, we have no rings, so I can continue.
But hey,
but I love going over to Allegiant Stadium.
Are you a Dodgers guy?
No, hate the Dodgers too. But I love
So
going.
you're not as excited about them winning the series.
Nah, whatever. But I go over to Allegiant Stadium, and I love NFL. I love football. I love watching the other teams come in and play the Raiders. I mean, I go there in a neutral. I'm not, cheering for either team. And now you've got the A's that are coming in where the Tropicana was.
And I think we're gonna get an NBA team as well.
We've got it.
I think we're gonna.
So bringing it back is my decision to move out here was, after going through my last divorce. Obviously my child is staying in California. The 15, literally, I went back to go see him for Halloween. And coming back 3.5 hours. And you know what I did? I scheduled calls that I needed to do for that drive. And I'm telling you what, when I was living in Murrieta, Temecula, San Diego, I have to go to LAX airport. It might be 3 hours to get back from the airport one day. Mm-hmm. So the drive is not that far from my kid. The tax benefits and the ability, especially us in this industry, this is the mecca of entertainment, but you can have a little piece of everything without being overwhelmed by the greater sense.
I like Vegas has a feel of like people come to Vegas to vacation, right? And Vegas has a feel of being on vacation. And where we live, right? To me, I feel like I live in a resort. I feel like
it does feel like a resort.
It does feel like a resort. And if I ever feel like, hey, I want to take a little staycation, I would normally fly to Vegas for vacations. Now I just drive a little bit, right? And so Vegas is great for that. I think it's great as a way to reboot your life.
Well, and if you're local and you're already here and you want to experience those things, you can go on a Sunday or Monday.
You can,
and things are a lot cheaper. The tables. You don't have to go when the quote unquote vacation time when you would be out there. So if you want to experience that as a local, a lot of our parking's comped.
Yeah,
we can go park places.
And the other thing too. Now, I will say there are times in Vegas where it's overwhelming, like New Year's, 4th of July. Formula One is coming. And yes, Formula One, I know it's great for the city. I know there's lots of fans that come here for that. I don't get it. I don't understand the attraction.
And it completely screws up our traffic.
It screws up traffic. Yes, they're working on the streets, but I don't see the benefit of the streets being quote unquote better. Right, I just see a lot of construction.
We have a lot of music festivals. I'm really into music. Next year, the When We Were Young music festival's coming here. Unfortunately, we had the Mandalay Bay, tragedy here, but shouldn't take away from. I apologize. Getting over that sinus infection, man. It's just hanging on,
Moose is what happens.
Moose sounds like the moose, but it's just. I think it's an opportunity in Las Vegas that it's still fairly cheap to get out here. Once you get out here, if you know where you're going, what you're doing, like the Cosmo, the things to know, like you talked about the Cosmo, is you don't have to just be a local. You do a little bit of research. That awesome speakeasy that they've got, behind the food court.
But and there are ways to make Vegas trips more affordable and easier, right? So this and again, none of these brands are sponsors. This is not sort of. We started talking about rebooting your life and switch to.
We're talking about why we came here. This isn't an endorsement of anybody.
But yeah, there are ways to do it. Like a lot of places now, if you get their credit cards, will let you park for free. Right? There are solutions. There's solutions to travel and other things. We'll have a show on travel because I think it's something that's important for you to see the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. Right? But it's all a question for me. It was all a question of where am I happiest, right? I came to Vegas for a reason because at the moment I was happiest in Vegas. It was really my way to reboot my life and to figure out what I want to do and to figure out how do I live my best life at 50. And for me, Vegas accomplished it. Now, what's really interesting about this city is that for you did the exact same thing. with a completely different focus.
Absolutely.
I've never seen you in a nightclub. I've never seen you.
Actually, you have.
I actually have. Think about it. But that's not where it's not.
That's
where,
not my happy
it's
place.
not your happy place.
My happy
Right?
place is, be out on the golf course or Top Golf or
Which we have here as well.
right.
Right.
And
Vegas literally has anything that you want.
anything that you want. In fact, the Top Golf here, I know I did a reel on my Instagram. On the deck 3 has a pool.
Really?
Yeah, you jump in the pool while you're doing Top Golf. It's really cool. So
I've
there's a lot of benefits that that Vegas has brought, and the biggest thing, and I guess this would be the call to action, is for me, one of my ways of dealing with permission to live my best life and daring to live is I can wake up tomorrow and I work remote, and I'm working remote, out of Harry Reid Airport. It goes anywhere in the world. Like, I mean, there's not a place you can't get to out of the Vegas airport.
I will say that I thought Vegas would be a lot easier to travel out of than it is.
No, it's difficult. It's difficult.
I think LA allowed me direct flights.
I hate the
to a lot
horseshoe
more
at LA.
places.
But
really,
yeah, LAX just is a nightmare for me. But in fact, Santa Ana, I love John Wayne, Long Beach. I like the smaller airports. But that being said, is working remotely is the airport gave me the flexibility to go wherever the hell I want, right? And have the ability to do my job. But the point I was getting to, and this was kind of my call to action on daring to live my best life, is if I wake up tomorrow and I want to go party like a rock star, I can do it. If I tomorrow want to get up and play golf at a phenomenal golf course, I can do it. If I want to have a speakeasy, if I want to go out to the lake, if I want to go, sail a boat across Lake Mead, I can do it. And that's the great part about it.
And those things exist at other places, but they're condensed. Vegas is like a really well done reduced sauce.
LA, if you want to go to the mountains, it's a 2-hour drive to Big Bear, or you've got to go out to the beaches. You've got to deal with the 405, the 110, the 101, like literally here for the most part, within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Now you're going to ski or go out to the lake. It's going to be 45 minutes to an hour, but
still,
literally you wake up every single day and say, you know what, today I want to roll one of those things, and then whatever it lands on, you go do it.
Yeah, and we do, like, for example, you don't mind driving. I when I go to LA, I fly JSX. It's semi-private. It's the best. And in this market, they're competing with Southwest. Southwest has 9 flights. Shameless plug. We have 9 flights between. I
love JSX, man.
I love JSX.
They're going to be flying out of Carlsbad in San Diego. So,
really?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be closer to you, right?
Closer to where my kid's at.
That's gonna be great.
But anyhow, so call to action, right, is finding that. And I apologize for my voice today, everybody.
So call to action for this show is at your age, figure out what you want and reboot your life in the way that empowers you and it gives you energy, right? Life should be a focus. When we think about life, it should be a focus on doing things that give you energy instead of doing things that suck energy out of you. We talked about that with people, right? We talk about it with friends. We've talked about it with women. We've talked about jobs, right? Finding your bliss is finding a way to experience life in the best way possible. And a lot of times that's the energy that you get from what you're doing, right? You, for example, love golf. So when you're on a golf course, it gives you energy, right? You become, I'm the opposite.
It also gives me a lot of curse words, but.
I'm the opposite. Like we talked about it when we had our mental health thing, right? Is that you love the gym. I hate the gym, right? I hate the gym. I need to get in the gym. And I've been procrastinating for 10 years.
I still hate cardio though, and it shows, but.
For 10 years, I've been procrastinating from really getting serious. I need to lift. When we had an episode on TRT, right? TRT is really good, but you've got to start lifting heavy things.
Yeah.
Right? All the coaches say that. Yep. I need to get in the gym. I need to start
Otherwise
lifting
your muscles
things.
just hurt.
Otherwise it hurt. And for me, like I broke my leg. I'm in recovery, right? So I need to do those things. But my bliss is the energy that this city brings.
Absolutely.
Right? And the energy of travel, which is why you see me on the road all the time.
And that's what you've got to do. You've got to dare to live. And this is a great place to dare to live, whether you are single, married, looking for something. And if you're just looking for a fresh start, highly recommended. We've both done it. We're on this journey together. So we appreciate you joining the show. We're going to go live the best day of our life. You go live yours. Have a great day.
The show doesn't stop there. Join the movement on IG, 50 Shades of _great, or go to our website, 50shadesofgreat.com.